Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am Adrian Atkinson and I'll be your guide on today's journey. We have an informative and engaging program lined up just for you.
The Child Ran into the Sea by Martin Carto. The child ran into the sea, but ran back from the waves, because the child did not know the sea on the horizon is not the same sea ravishing the shore. What every child wants is always in the distance, like the sea on the horizon, while on the shore nearby, at the feet of every child, shallow water. Eating the edges of islands and continents does little more than foam like spittle at the corners of the inarticulate mouth of some other child who wants to run into the sea, into the horizon.
Thank you so much for staying with us right here on Jamaica Magazine. During Mathematics Month, the power of numbers reminds us how careful planning and calculation shape national progress. Let's take a look at the allocations outlined for the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service in the 2026-27 estimates of expenditure.
Today, Madam Speaker, we clear roads and replant electric poles that have been scattered by Hurricane Melissa. Tomorrow, we build highways that are climate resilient, promote efficient connectivity, and have underground conduits for electricity grid and telecom networks. Madam Speaker, this is a government that cares.
It takes cash to care, and the government has put forward a $1.44 trillion budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. The budget outlines recurrent expenditure of $1.34 trillion and capital spending of $99.74 billion. It is funded by tax revenue of $979.36 billion and non-tax revenue of $97.33 billion. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service continues to receive the lion's share of the recurrent budget, totaling $567.12 billion. It's a significant increase of $76.44 billion over the previous fiscal year. On the capital side, the ministry has been allocated $37.9 billion. Steadfast fiscal management is the mantra driving government action, and that involves debt management. The Finance Ministry is projected to spend approximately $377 billion on debt servicing for 2026-2027, including $210 billion in interest and $167 billion in principal repayments. Another area for careful management is public sector wage adjustments and contingencies. $91.49 billion is set aside for this. Of this, $42.78 billion has been earmarked for new rates and retroactive salary adjustments.
This government is indicating that despite the massive disruption of Melissa, totaling US $8.8 billion or 41% of our GDP, and the debt we must take on to rebuild, reconstruct, and build in resilience in our infrastructure as a government, despite all of that, Madam Speaker, we remain committed to the wage offer that this government has put forward to our public sector workers.
Other allocations include $228 million for the Community Renewal Program, CRP. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin is getting $532.43 million to support the relocation of its offices. The Jamaica Customs Agency is projected to generate $23.76 billion to deliver on its mandate, while $738 million is allocated to bolster border control operations, risk assessments, and investigations. Operational support continues for Tax Administration Jamaica, the Financial Investigations Division, whose mandate is to deter money laundering and other financial crimes, the Revenue Protection Department, and Accountant General's Department. Additionally, $50.26 billion has been earmarked for pensions and other retirement benefits. The Ministry of Finance's capital budget of $37.9 billion is partially funded by the government, with support from the Adaptation Fund, the European Union, and the Inter-American Development Bank (IDB). Of this, $35 billion has been set aside as a contingency provision. It includes $30 billion dedicated to projects for Hurricane Melissa reconstruction and restoration. Efforts to strengthen climate resilience continue, with $30 million allocated to the Enhancing the Resilience of the Agricultural Sector and Coastal Areas project, scheduled for completion in September 2026. The Jamaican Path from Hills to Ocean project has been allotted $119.95 million to complete works at Castleton Botanical Gardens and construct an armored waterway at Decoy St. Mary, with completion expected in November 2026. Projects go beyond physical construction and into the digital architecture of daily operations. One such intervention is the upgrade of Tax Administration Jamaica's Revenue Administration Information System. $1.08 billion will finance that work in the fiscal year. The other is the continued support to the Public Sector Transformation Program, with a price tag of $1.66 billion. As Jamaica charts its path forward, the 2026-2027 budget reflects a government committed to responsible fiscal management, strategic investment, and climate resilience.
Hi, I'm Landy. Welcome to NLA Connect, the National Land Agency's customer engagement platform. NLA Connect is a simple, user-friendly platform designed to help you share your feedback, get support, and updates about land-related matters. Available 24/7, NLA Connect allows you to share suggestions, comments, and commendations, submit queries and report issues, attach files with your requests, track requests and get real-time status updates, connect with NLA client engagement officers, and provide feedback on the service received by the platform. We're making it easier for you to connect with us. You can access NLA Connect via our website, using the kiosk at any of our offices, or scanning the QR code displayed at our locations. Need any help along the way? Check out our FAQs section. It has all the answers you need in one location. NLA Connect, your voice, our priority.
Numbers also tell the story of national development. As part of the 2026-27 estimates of expenditure, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development outlines key allocations aimed at strengthening infrastructure and supporting sustainable growth across the island.
The ministry tasked with infrastructure development is getting a budget of $40 billion for its 2026-27 expenditure. The sum is expected to aid in achieving the goals of building sustainable urban and rural development, economic infrastructure, and an enabling business environment. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development will be spending $18.6 billion of the $40 billion expenditure on its operational costs. Of that amount, $12.9 billion will be for use at the Central Ministry. 3 agencies under its oversight, the National Environment and Planning Agency, National Land Agency, and National Works Agency, are getting almost $6 billion combined. The remaining $21.8 billion will be divided amongst the ministry's 11 capital projects. Construction works on the much-anticipated Montego Bay Bypass is expected to be completed during the fiscal year. This is to be facilitated by the $11.6 billion that has been budgeted in 2026-27 as part of the $41.9 billion Montego Bay Perimeter Road project. It was designed to create a safe and reliable alternative route for motorists traveling across and within the second city, easing congestion and opening up more avenues for development. This year's allocation is also to acquire the remaining land needed for both the Montego Bay and Long Hill Bypass roads and complete detailed designs and continue the construction of works for the Long Hill Bypass.
There's a process in the government system to procure these things. You cannot just, as a government, get up and pay somebody for the land. It has to go through a very rigorous process because land tenure is a very peculiar and very well debated aspect of the law, and we have to acquiesce ourselves to those principles and those legal requirements.
As of December last year, preliminary geotechnical investigations have been completed, as well as a detailed design for the corridor. Construction on the Montego Bay Bypass is 65% complete and land acquisition at 60%. 8.6 hectares of trees have also been planted. The overall project is scheduled to be completed in March of 2028. Four other Capital Road projects are being implemented by the National Works Agency NWA. Chief among them is the Shared Prosperity through Accelerated Improvement to Our Road Network SPARK program.
So what SPARK is doing is looking at these roads and saying, what best design can we implement on these roads to make them more efficient and more usable.
The project, which started in January 2025, was at 19% completion by December last year. The government will be spending $4.5 billion to bring work on SPARK to 40%. Projected for completion in March 2028, the aim is to enhance mobility and connectivity, support economic growth, and improve the quality of life for communities by providing a more reliable and resilient road network. Another Capital Road expenditure is the Southern Coastal Highway project, for which the government is spending $2 billion in the upcoming financial year to complete tranches 3 and 4. The work will also include design, land acquisition, and commencement of the Port Antonio bypass.
For decades, Port Antonio has been one of Jamaica's hidden gems, blessed with natural beauty and rich cultural heritage, but held back by limited access and inadequate infrastructure. The current route through the town centre, while scenic, adds to the traffic congestion in the town.
Targets for the year include improvement of the main road from Harbourview to Yallahs Bridge, rehabilitation of 93 kilometers of main road from Yallahs Bridge to Port Antonio, rehabilitation of 27.5 kilometers of main road from Morant Bay to Cedar Valley, relocation of installations, as well as construction of the Maypen to Williamsfield section of Highway 2000. Meanwhile, with a $222.6 billion allocation, the NWA is expected to advance work on the dualization of the Brayton Road and the Hellshire Main Road. The entire project area stretches from Nago Head to the Texaco gas station to Mid Street. Ground was broken in 2025 with the goal of improving mobility and connectivity while helping to reduce congestion in the area. Also through the NWA, the government is hoping to complete construction of the Troy Bridge at the end of the fiscal year with an $81 million budget allocation. The work, currently at 77% completion, involves the construction of a 2-lane triple-cell reinforced concrete rigid frame bridge on piled foundation with pedestrian sidewalks and signage. The original Troy Bridge collapsed in August 2021 during the passage of Tropical Storm Grace, forcing residents to take significantly longer routes to schools and major towns. The new structure will restore connectivity between communities and access to necessary services. But road and bridge infrastructure is not where it stops. The government is hoping to complete construction of the Portmore Resilience Park with over $589 million budgeted for this initiative. Implemented by the Urban Development Corporation (UDC), the plan is to develop 21 of the 26 acres of the Portmore Town Centre into a green recreational and wellness space. It will encompass multi-purpose sports courts and an indoor sports complex, a great lawn, children's play area, and a jogging trail. A commercial complex with several shops for rent, car park for 370 vehicles, and 3 security posts are also in the plans. The UDC will also be spending $170.5 million on the Montego Bay Waterfront Protection Project to complete the rehabilitation of shoreline protection structures in the Harmony Beach Park area. The project is expected to be completed in March of 2027. To date, the North Gully revetment has been completed. So too are the southern groins, along with the rehabilitation of the shoreline protection structures in the vicinity of the Harmony Beach Park area.
We have to accelerate the provision of houses and land opportunities that are structured and organized in safe areas. And we must also enforce the law so that people don't go and live where they should not live.
To this end, the government is spending $1.65 billion to improve the efficiency of the land registration process. Under the Electronic Land Titling Project, the government is expected to complete core system infrastructure, implement a robust digitization process, and conduct comprehensive quality analysis to ensure all systems meet performance requirements. The ministry is also moving forward with a project to conserve biodiversity and reduce land degradation. This year, that involves the onboarding of consultancy services to rescope the project's development objectives, establishing the project executing unit, and hosting a project inception workshop. Under the Economic Growth Portfolio, the Development Bank of Jamaica will continue its support of startups and small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs). $900 million is allocated to the Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystem (BIGE) program. This will bring the initiative to completion by September by completing final disbursements under the Incubator Accelerator program. Government, through the ministry, is also supporting extensive renovations and security upgrades of a facility for use as the United Nations offices in Jamaica. $57 million is earmarked to complete construction of the perimeter wall and finalize all activities required to achieve practical completion of the United Nations House located at Block 11 on Port Royal Street. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development continues to foster Jamaica's development by supporting business and building first world infrastructure.
Jamaica is changing in front of your very eyes, day by day by day. The intractable problems that you thought could not be solved, this administration has taken them on with great vigor and courage, and we have made progress that has never been seen before in the history of this country.
Attention overseas farm work applicants. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security does not charge fees for recruitment or placement for any of the overseas opportunities. If anyone asks you to pay for documents, cards or processing, it is not the ministry's process. You are being misled.
We will never say to you beforehand that you should provide us with documentation and expenses for you to be able to get a card. That's not the ministry's process. It will never be. So once you see or hear of that kind of interaction, you know that you're going down the wrong path. So you have to be very careful.
To confirm authorized recruiters, check the ministry's website or call the ministry directly for verification. Stay informed, stay safe, don't be misled. Farm work applications are free.
Some of life's most important milestones begin with proper documentation. Up next, we break down the steps and requirements for obtaining a birth certificate through the Registrar General's Department.
The Registrar General's Department, RGD, is an executive agency and Jamaica's sole repository of birth records. Every birth that occurs in Jamaica must be registered with the RGD. This establishes a permanent and official record of each person's existence, where they were born, and the identity of their parents. This affords the individual the right to an official identity and nationality, which is also the basis for accessing social and economic benefits. The registration process typically begins shortly after the mother gives birth in hospital or a birthing facility where the relevant form is completed by a registration officer. The process is complete once all relevant signatures are affixed to the document and the registration fee is paid. Some parents are required to do a follow-up visit with the RGD for one or more reasons. If the couple is unmarried, they may have to visit to have the father's particulars added to the form. If a child's name was not decided at birth, the parent must submit a certification of naming form. The birth certificate will be issued within 3 months for babies who were named in the hospital. Where the registration of birth is done digitally, the RGD also has the capacity to provide digital birth certificates so that parents will be able to leave the hospital with the document. Beyond bedside registration, to get a birth certificate, you must apply to the Registrar General's Department. This can be done online at www.rgd.gov.jm or by visiting any of the RGD's offices across the country. When applying, ensure that you have the following information for the person or child on whose behalf you are seeking the birth certificate: the full and correct spelling of the person's name, their sex, date, and place of birth, as well as the parish. You also need the birth entry number, full and correct spelling of the person's mother and father's names, date, and place of registration. If you don't have a birth entry number, you will need to fill out an online birth search application form. The birth entry number is on the top right-hand corner of the birth certificate, usually 2 letters and 3 or 4 numbers if you have an old one, and on the certificate of registry or the pink slip. Complete the application form and make the required payment for either the express or regular service using your credit or Visa debit card. The Registrar General's Department lists the costs for getting a certified copy of a birth certificate on its website. The current price to get the first copy is $1,500 Jamaican dollars. Additional copies will cost $500 each. Normally, it takes anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks to process a birth certificate application. However, you can make use of the RGD's 7 to 10 business days express service or 3 to 4 business days express service. If you are overseas, you also have the option of asking a family member or friend in Jamaica to assist you with getting the birth certificate. This option is usually less costly and tends to be the fastest route. Express applications for overseas customers are processed within 7 to 10 business days, and ordinary applications are processed within 4 to 6 weeks. All overseas customers will receive 2 copies of the certificate at costs based on the region in which they reside. If the child was delivered at home or any place outside of a hospital or birthing center, the parents must visit the RGD with an informant, that is, a witness or household member, to register the birth. Ideally, this should take place within 6 weeks of the birth or up to a year, the latest. Persons who fail to register their children's birth within the specified year will have to complete a late registration form. This then creates a record of the birth, which is needed before making an application for a birth certificate. Among the information required for completing the late registration form are your child's first primary or prep school records, baptismal record, 3 statutory declarations, a list of all children born to the mother, and a certificate of naming. A late registration fee of $6,000 is charged for processing in 4 to 6 weeks and $8,500 for 7 to 10 business days. Parents will be interviewed as part of the application process and will receive a birth certificate when the process is completed with the standard RGD service cost and processing time applied.
Jamaicans consume on average 9 to 12 grams of sodium or salt per day, twice the World Health Organization recommended amount of less than 5 grams or 1 teaspoon of salt, and more ideally, less than 2 grams of sodium per adult per day from all food sources. This excess salt in the diet causes high blood pressure, kidney and bone damage, gastric cancer, obesity, and worsening of asthma. Reduce the amount of salt you consume to no more than 3 to 5 grams, or half to 1 teaspoon per day for adults, and less than 2 grams for children under 11 years of age. Let's shake the salt habit and live healthy. A public service message from the Jamaica Information Service.
When you think of Jamaica, the first thing that comes to mind is the people. But what is it about us?
What makes us truly Jamaican?
Is it our warmth and hospitality? The way we greet each other with a simple wagwan or a bright smile? Maybe it's our resilience, our ability to find joy even in tough times. Or perhaps it's the unmistakable sound of patois connecting us, adding flavor to every conversation. Speaking of flavor, could it be our love for street food? The pan chicken sizzling on the grill, the soup men on the corner, the fruit vendors with their fresh, vibrant offerings?
Wait, I know you're excited, but what about our music, our dance moves, or rhythm that captivates the world?
We are storytellers, whether through folklore or everyday conversations. Being Jamaican is more than just a nationality. It's a feeling, a culture, a way of life. From the way we speak to the way we dance, cook, and connect, every part of our identity reflects our rich heritage and unstoppable spirit.
So what makes us truly Jamaican? It's everything. We are the culture, the energy, and the heartbeat of the island.
And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. You can stay connected with us online at jis.gov.jm and on our social media platforms. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.